There are many physical objects one can find on this planet. There are rocks, trees, birds, and humans. All are things we can touch, yet we can observe that one particular thing is quite different from the other. A rock is much different from a tree is much different from a bird is especially much different from a human. Yet out of all the things in this world, is there something that sets apart living and non-living things? According to Aristotle, there is one element responsible for the essence of all living things. It is the soul. A soul is very unique. To have a soul means that one does not solely have the property of being a physical entity. It is more than just containing a body or matter in existence. A soul, rather, has the power of giving things an active role, otherwise known as actualizing or giving form. For example, all things have matter, just like a rock. It is simply a material that cannot move or do anything. Its role is just to exist. But there are other things like succulents and fish that can grow, live, die, and possess active functions in nature. All living things have a soul, and the soul is what makes all things alive. A soul is not a thing, but it is the term for the capacity of the essential role of a given living thing.
Because there are different accounts of living, there is an even greater division in terms of a soul, particularly 3 powers. The most basic power of soul is nutrition. In order to be alive, a thing must at least have this first power. Through nutrition, it allows living beings to reproduce and to witness the other outcomes of nourishments, growth, and degeneration. A living thing in the physical world cannot live endlessly, and existence must be passed from parent to another being of the same sort. Although all living things possess this quality, there is a type of living entity that only has this capacity, which are plants.
The next faculty a living thing can have, in addition to nutrition, is perception. Perception is a power of the soul that has the ability to basically sense things, which involves the 5 senses. Not only can a living thing can be self-sustaining and have the nutrition power of the soul, but on top of that, can feel pleasure and pain. This is where animals belong. They can eat, grow, multiply, and die, but also perceive and move. However, the senses do not perceive itself. It perceives other objects. Sensing is only potentiality and is actualized if there is an object. Sensing requires an agent that has the power of starting an action. For example, in order for an eye to see, there must be light and objects to see. Without the agent, light, and objects, the power of an eye cannot be actualized. So sensing is not just the activity, but also the potentiality.
Lastly, there is a faculty that builds off of the 2 other powers of the soul. This faculty is known as reason. Reason is responsible for the diverse areas of judgment, knowledge, opinion, understanding, and their opposites. Rationality differs from the senses in so that it creates room for truth and wrongness, while sensing is free from errors. The ability to sense is objective, while there can be discourse for reason. This power is particularly unique for humans. The intellect itself is potentiality and is actualized when a being is actively utilizing what they know and comprehend. For example, a human being is actualizing its ability to reason when he or she is teaching a class what they know about the soul. The individual is using its capacity to think and gives form to his or her knowledge as he or she demonstrates concepts and opinions.
Each power of the soul dictates the different levels of actualizing. Nutrition is responsible for growth, reproduction, and nutrition. Perception is responsible for the senses, and reason is responsible for thinking. One power builds off from one another and actualizes the potentialities established from the latter power. A person cannot understand anything without the ability to sense, and an animal cannot sense without having the basic power of being alive. Aristotle says that soul is the cause and principle of the living body. Here, Aristotle is saying that the soul is the quintessential embodiment of the totality of living. It generates the purpose of what something is for. The soul also enables what living things aim for their end.